Hello, welcome back to my vlog channel. Today we're going to be continuing with my money management series. But today's video is going to be a little bit different because today I'm going to be talking about the things that we don't save money on, things that we actually spend money on that we don't necessarily need to. If you haven't seen the previous videos in this series, I'll link the playlist up here for you. But otherwise, let's go ahead and get started. Hopefully the glare on my glasses doesn't annoy you too much. Do I need to take them off in fact, or do I just need to look sideways? So yeah, basically today I'm going to be talking about things that we have decided are worth spending money on even though we don't have to spend money on them, because these things like keep us sane and they add value to our life. I feel like if we spent money on only the things that we absolutely needed to survive, then we'd just be surviving. We wouldn't be living, and we want to live our life. So although we do save money in a lot of ways, these are some ways or some areas where we don't save money. Actually, this is kind of funny because the thing that's on the top of my list, I've had this list for about a year now, and the thing that's on top, I actually don't spend money on anymore. So I have gym at the top of the list, and actually I'm not going to the gym anymore. Quite recently I decided to cancel my gym membership. I really did enjoy the gym while I was a member, and I've been going to the gym for several years. I've been to a few different gyms. I've absolutely loved it, but I just I don't know if it was COVID and I was feeling a bit funny. There have been a few outbreaks that have centered around gyms. So I don't know if it was that or if it was just my personal preferences changing, but I felt that I would rather invest in some weights and do home workouts with my own weights where I don't have to wait for the machines. I can film myself without anybody watching me. And so I just felt I would rather be doing that at home than at a gym. So I do spend money on being active. Like, I've now bought some weights to use at home, so I've been spending money on that, and I previously spent money on the gym. Because yeah, I do enjoy working out, I enjoy lifting, things like that. So that is one area where I've invested my money a little bit. Next on my list is fizzy drinks. This is mostly Jonathan, but I do enjoy the odd fizzy drink as well. I would rather eat chocolate, to be honest, but anytime we've got friends over, anytime we go to someone else's place, quite often if we're having takeaways, we'll get fizzy drinks, and we do enjoy that. It's not a huge amount of money, but it's just something that we could cut out and we could just drink water, but we do still drink fizzy drinks. Netflix is another one. Obviously we could survive without Netflix, we could survive without any kind of entertainment really, but we choose to spend money on Netflix each month because there's I think it's a great value for money. You get all of these TV shows, all these documentaries, all these movies for honestly the price of one movie ticket each month. Monthly phone plans is another one. Obviously we don't absolutely need, but I feel like in this day and age it's very useful. Like, imagine if it cost you 20 cents to send every single text. That's how it used to be when I got my first phone, is that it literally cost you money every single text you wanted to send. This one is more so for me than for Jonathan because my phone plan is more expensive than his one. My one includes rollover data and rollover minutes. So if I don't use all of my call time or all of my data each month, which I don't, it rolls over to the next month. So if there's ever a time that I desperately need to make a seriously long phone call, or if I'm going away for 2 weeks and I want to be able to use my data, it means that I've got heaps stored from all of the previous months. Whereas Jonathan's one is a little bit cheaper, and he has the same amount of minutes and data, I think, but his don't roll over, so he can't stock them up for an emergency. Honestly, I use most of my data when I forget to turn it off when I come home, and so I'll just be on YouTube for 3 hours and I'll be using my data because I never turned it off. But at least I have that data now and it doesn't cost me extra money. Clothing is another one. This is mostly me as well. Jonathan goes on the occasional clothes spree, but actually more recently he's been doing that at op shops, so they've been very affordable, whereas I like to invest in my clothing. I like to spend a bit of money, get something that's really good quality. So yeah, there's a little bit of money that does go toward clothes. I mean, obviously you've probably seen my main channel, which is all about style and clothing, so I have a love of clothes, and I felt guilty about it for a long time, but Jonathan's been trying to get me out of that guilty mindset and be you want this thing and it's your money that you've earned, so you can have this thing. And so now I'm starting to be like, yeah, I can have this thing. We have food out with friends like kind of frequently. We don't really go out to restaurants, so that saves us a lot of money because restaurants are very expensive, but we do get takeaways. Like, I mean, the two of us get takeaways probably once a week. Usually that's like our Friday treat, but then sometimes we'll also get it like if a friend's coming around midweek, we might get takeaways for that as well, depending. Like, we've got some friends that are vegetarian, so if the meal that we were going to make doesn't line up, then we'll get takeaways. If we see friends in the weekend, quite often that's a takeaway thing as well. Or if we're like meeting a friend not at someone's house, then we'll go out and get food usually as well. Or if we're going around to their place, then we might like take some chips or something like that. So that's all things that like snack foods and takeaways that would be cheaper if we cooked, but we just quite enjoy spending the time with our friends and not having to worry about what to make. This next one is more so Jonathan than me, but it is big ticket items, but not very often. So although I like to spend money kind of frequently on clothes, like a bit of money here and there on an item of clothing, Jonathan will like not spend anything for a really long time, and then he'll go out and buy something really expensive, but only occasionally. Last year he bought himself an electric piano for, I want to say like close to $2,000. I can't remember how much it was, but it was a lot of money. But that's like, that only happens very occasionally. It's not like he's doing that every couple of weeks. We always joke and we're like trying to figure out who actually spends the most money, because I reckon if you added up all the money that I spend on clothes, it would probably add up to about the same or maybe even more than what he spends on big ticket items. Haircuts is another one that we both spend quite a bit of money on, because there are really cheap places like in the mall that you can go to and you just pay like $20 or $30 to get your haircut, but I've had really bad experiences there. I know lots of people that have had bad experiences with that sort of thing. So I actually have a hairdresser that I found a few years ago called Liana, and I've been to no one else since I found her. I was like looking for the one, the one hairdresser that I was going to stick with. I really, really like her, and she's actually been to, I think, like 5 different locations, 5 different jobs, I guess, since I found her, and I've been following her to each one. At one point she was at a salon that was literally on the same road as me, and that was amazing, and then she moved like 40 minutes away, which wasn't so great, and now she's doing home visits. So she actually comes and does our haircuts here in our home, which is so cool. I mean, we pay extra for her travel, but that for me is so much easier than actually trying to find where her new place is, drive all the way there, drive all the way back. This is so much easier, and she comes in the evenings as well, so we can just book her in for after work. And Jonathan also gets his hair cut by her as well, and she does colouring, like she does everything. So I would much rather pay a little bit extra and be like assured that it's someone that's going to do my hair nicely, and also someone that I like and I like talking to. I'd rather do that and pay extra than go to the mall, get my hair cut by a stranger who is possibly going to stuff it up. And the last thing that's on my list is our second car. So we do have 2 cars so that we can have one each. It's not completely necessary. We survived with 1 car for like 2 or 3 years, the entire time we were at university, and then I think for a couple of years after university as well. So actually it was quite a few years that we just had 1 car, and it was okay. Like, we made it work, but there was a lot of bussing that had to happen. There was a lot of dropping the other person off and picking the other person up, and it was fine, but we just figured it would be so much easier, and we both have so much more freedom if we had 2 cars. And it is so much better, even though yes, we have to pay like 2 sets of warrants, 2 sets of registration, 2 sets of services, like everything is doubled, but it means that we can both go and do our own thing at the same time. Yeah, it's been really, really helpful actually. We've had 2 cars now for 3 years, I think. We got our second car when I did my teaching diploma, because I needed to be able to get to practicums, and I didn't know what the locations were going to be because you go to 3 different schools over the year. So I just wanted a second car for that year so that I could make sure I had the freedom to get there in my own time. But yeah, we really have never looked back after having 2 cars. There's a lot more freedom that comes with it. So definitely something that we're happy to spend money on even though we don't need it to survive. I'm sure there are other things that we spend money on that we don't need to, but those were just like some of the main ones that came to mind when I was making this list. I would love to know what you spend money on in your day-to-day life that brings you joy, but thank you for watching, and I'll see you again another time.